Turnkey Q here, and today I'm bringing you a video on Cinestill 50D. Now, what is this? Because you might have heard of it before, but not as 35mm. Maybe you've heard of it as Super 8 in a camera like this. So, how did a Kodak film that's meant for motion picture wind up under the name Cinestill at 35mm? So, the deal is that, from my understanding at least, so hopefully this is accurate completely, is that Cinestill gets the film from Kodak. And motion picture film has to be developed in a special set of chemicals because of the carbon coating on them. Now, Cinestill strips that out and allows the film to be developed in normal C41 chemicals like any other color negative film. And that's basically what it turns it into. Now, I know I've heard of another German brand out there, I can't quote the name off the top of my head, that does it where they keep the carbon coating and you get it developed the same way you would get Super 8, but that's very long and time consuming. I've actually shot Super 8 film recently on this camera over a month ago, and I still haven't got it back. I don't know if that's just my lab, that their turnaround time is bad with that, or if that's the case, I've seen better times on the internet, but I haven't tried to ship them any of my film out for that. I think I'm going to try that and see if I get a better result with getting it back. But anyway, back to the 35mm. So, I haven't shot this yet, and I wouldn't call this really a review in the end, once I do shoot this and come back to this. And, but it's going to be mostly my personal opinions on it. Okay, now the camera I plan to shoot this on is my Olympus OM10. This is by far my favorite film camera, and the one I use the most. Where I'm heading out to is McGuire Air Force Base. I have special access to it because I have a dependence card there and can get access in. I've never really actually gone there, so I don't know what I'll have access to because it is still an Air Force Base. So, but I'm hoping to get some shots maybe of planes on the runway or taking off. I know there are planes on display I've seen in my previous visits that I hope to get up close to. I'm also going with my stepfather, who is a retired Air Force veteran, and he plans to bring his point and shoots out that I've finally convinced him to take out of the basement and test those out. So I'm hoping to have a good day doing that. But besides the OM10 and the Cinestill that I'm bringing, I also plan to bring my Olympus Evolt 510, which I know it might sound like a dinosaur, but I don't shoot much digital. I only really keep this for when I have to. Like last week I had to shoot an engagement and came in handy for that because, of course, people want the photos right away for stuff like that. But I still like to bring it around and play around with it, but I don't take it really too seriously. Something a little different I plan to bring with me that I have unknown to me is this point and shoot. It's a Sony CyberShot. I kind of don't even know the name of it. I've had it for one day, and I've only taken a couple pictures with it. But last night I was playing around, and I'm actually impressed with the functionality of it. I don't know how old this is, but probably is just around 9 years old. I found some old photos on it from 2012, so I guess that gives a little hint to its age. It actually goes up to 3200 ISO, which I found kind of impressive, being that my Evolt only goes up to 1600. But once again, we're talking about dinosaurs as far as digital is concerned. What else I plan to bring is, unfortunately, no Super 8 is coming. I'm also planning to bring with me maybe some extra lenses. These zoom telephoto lenses that I have, one for my OM and one for my Evolt. But I also have an adapter for the Evolt that I can use all my OM lenses on it. But I mostly, honestly, use zoom lenses. I know they don't have the same quality as prime lenses, but I just love having the ability to zoom in and out and not switch lenses because I'm usually on the fly and just moving as I'm doing my photography, and that just works better for me. So that's what I plan to bring with me, and I'm hoping to have a good day, and we'll see how Cinestill 50D performs. At this point, I just loaded up the first row of Cinestill and shot some pictures of my car in the driveway before heading out. Honestly, couldn't tell you if those were halations or from me loading the film. Cinestill 50D and even 800 is known for its halations, being that it's motion picture film. But you're gonna see in the next one how bad it gets. Like I said, bad. Upon arriving at McGuire Air Force Base, we set up ourselves in this circle with 3 different planes, an F4, and this refueler that I just showed, and a cargo plane. This picture in particular could have lived without my stepfather leaving his trunk open in the background. The C-41 in the background is actually my stepfather's plane, and that was his main reason for stopping here to take pictures. This photo is probably one of my favorites with how the plane overlaps the other. I lied because these are my 2 favorite out of the 2 rolls I shot at McGuire. Right after this, a guy in uniform came up to me that sounded like he chain smoked a whole pack of Marlboros and told me not to be mistaken for spec ops. I'm assuming that means spies. That was interesting. At this point, I finally made my way over to the F4, but if I'm honest, most of the photos I got of it, I'm underwhelmed with. This one right here, honestly just thought it would be better. This one I actually do like though. I loaded up my second roll of Cinestill after finishing up on the airplanes. At this point we headed over to what is considered Fort Dix, which is right next to McGuire, and headed over to a field of tanks and artillery. To be honest, I'm not the craziest fan of green, so
being that Cinestill is so saturated, I think that might be why I'm not crazy about any of the photos I took here. I find that any photos I take with a whole lot of green in them, I'm not too happy with. But, I don't know. These photos are definitely not the worst I've ever seen, I guess. Well, that's just a little embarrassing. Okay, that's better. On a side note, after recording some of these scenes out by the tanks, I grew very annoyed of not knowing when I was out of frame, and just all the other issues that came with recording on an iPhone X, or just an iPhone in general. So recently I invested in a DJI action camera, basically a GoPro. But it has a front-facing display, and it was cheaper than a GoPro. So that's what I'm going to be recording on from now on. After a while, I headed over to this Red Cross building that's on the base. Would have been very nice if that red car wasn't there, but took some shots here. Not too happy with them, if I'm completely honest. I know it's a bad attitude to have, but I was just hoping for more. On a personal note, I am a nursing major, and that's most of my reason for coming over here and trying to shoot this, but maybe that's why I'm so disappointed. But I was really hoping for more out of this building, but just harsh highlights and unfortunately a car there that I wish wasn't there. Because I didn't finish the second roll completely, I headed over to the post office in the town I work in of Millstone, New Jersey, and decided to finish it off there. Keep this a little Americana themed with these two rolls. And these were some of my favorites out of the two rolls also. I love shooting anything that has to do with the post office. And I just love the blues and stuff, and just like the trucks and stuff, which we'll see later. I can never resist a post office box to shoot. Believe it or not, I've had a lot of interest in shooting this satellite dish for a while, and it was one of the main things that attracted me to this building. And finally I made my way to the main attraction, the post office trucks themselves. They're the perfect piece of Americana. And I don't know, they just go perfect on film. Maybe it's just because of how out of date they are. I came to notice something with the halations and the mail trucks. Because of the highlights bouncing off them, it created this almost red glow around the trucks, which I found to be very interesting, I guess you could say. In this one, I think they're the harshest, but it makes me love the photo. Reminds me of an album cover. And that's the last of the photos. I must say, I really like this film stock. I plan to pick more up. Let me know your opinions in the comments. Please like and subscribe, and follow me on Instagram at FrankieQFilm.